What's up guys, today I will be going over the new exotic fusion rifle from the Forges, and this time I believe it's Greek, and I'm going to try to pronounce it once, Jötunn. Tell me how well I did, probably terrible. But anyways, this fusion rifle shoots this little fireball that explodes upon impact, and you can get it from the Forges by completing powerful frames. So you can get up to 6 chances a week, and I got mine on my 4th powerful frame of the week. So you just kind of have to get lucky, same way as the exotic bow previously. But that's how you get it. Let's go ahead and begin breaking down the weapon. First with the damage of the weapon, so shooting the ogre, slowing it down and zooming in, counting up all the damage, impact, and fire. It hits for exactly 5,006 impact, then also 1281 burn, for a total of 6,287, which is actually pretty good for a single fusion rifle shot. Now testing for the rate of fire of the weapon to get a DPS number, shooting off 7 shots, including the charge time of the first shot. See how long that takes. And it takes roughly 7.94 seconds, so a little under 8 seconds, meaning the damage per second of this exotic is 5,543, which is actually pretty good for a fusion rifle in this game, besides the Merciless. So comparing to a regular fusion rifle, such as the Techeun Force from last Switch raid, shooting the ogre, adding up all the bolts, it hit for 3,325 damage. Now once again testing the rate of fire to compare this exotic to a regular fusion, to see where it is compared to your average everyday fusion rifle. So shooting off 7 shots again took a little over 7.4 seconds, resulting in 3,124 DPS of this fusion. So this exotic is actually pretty good for a fusion rifle in terms of damage. But that's not really the main thing about this weapon. What really sets this gun apart from other weapons in the game is the explosion upon impact, then also the fire taking damage afterwards. And this will be my only complaint about the gun in the entire video. I wish this fire was more like the Dragon's Breath from Destiny 1, the napalm. I wish it either lasted longer, covered more ground, or did a little bit more damage, but right now, the fire is good, but it's not even enough to really kill a thrall. So if that napalm covered more area, or did, something more like the Dragon's Breath from D1, I think it'd be a little bit better off, but that's my only complaint of this gun. So the other thing about this weapon that makes it stand out compared to other fusions is its infinite range, and then also tracking. So this weapon has no damage drop off, as you can see. As long as you can see the enemy and you can shoot at them, it will hit them, and it'll kind of track towards them at the last second, which you'll see here when I get closer and actually test the tracking a bit. And the best way to explain the tracking is it's very similar to Skyburner's Oath. Whenever the ball gets close to an enemy, it will kind of curve towards them, and the radius in which it starts tracking is pretty small, so it has to be pretty close for that tracking to kick in. The tracking isn't that ridiculous where you can just look way to the side and it'll just like curve like crazy, but once it's near an enemy, it will curve towards them. So as long as it's near an enemy at all times, it'll keep curving towards that enemy, just like the Skyburner's Oath. But it's not like tracking on a rocket where you can look at them and look like completely the other way and it'll still hit them and whatnot, so it's not that crazy. But the tracking and the range is definitely a huge plus to this weapon that sets it apart from other fusion rifles in the game. So the rest of the video will be strike gameplay, then a lot of Crucible gameplay, because I played 3 Crucible games and I was actually really enjoying it once I learned how to use it properly. It's kind of like playing Pharah in Overwatch, where you have to kind of lead and predict the enemy's movement. And the more oblivious your enemies, the easier it is to use the weapon. If they're not moving that much, it's very easy to hit them or even lead them if they're just moving in a straight line. But the better players you're playing against, where they're going to be strafing, that's going to throw off the tracking and you'll probably miss more often. But overall in PvE, I actually used this gun a lot yesterday in the raids we played. We did 3 Last Wishes and 3 Scourges of the Past, and I actually really enjoyed using this gun. It's extremely fun to use, and it feels like nothing else in the game, which is why I really like it. It's very unique, and it's actually pretty good. It does really good single target damage and decent AoE damage versus groups of ads. Now, I'm not going to say it's better than like a Telesto for ad clear. That's probably still the best fusion rifle for ad clear in the game. Then Merciless is probably the best fusion rifle for DPS, but this is somewhere in the middle where it's pretty good for damage, pretty good for ad clear, really good at range, so you don't have to get close, and it has tracking. So it has a little bit of everything, but not too much of anything, if you know what I mean. It's a very solid all-around gun, in my opinion. The only thing I wish they would change about it is how the fire explosion works. I think it's a little bit weak, and probably the only weak part of the weapon. If that fire actually truly was, a napalm, kind of like Dragon's Breath from D1, where it would actually be a true AoE lingering damage, where anything that walks in it would probably die, I think that would make this gun a lot better. Biggest takeaway about this gun for me is that it feels unique and fun to use because of the fact that it doesn't feel like anything you've ever used in Destiny. And that goes for both PvE and PvP. So overall conclusion is, in PvP, it's extremely strong against bad players, but the better the players you're playing against, the harder it'll be to use against them. But in the right hands, it's definitely really strong in PvP. Then in PvE, it's a very hard-hitting weapon that can one-shot most ads in the game, including majors, so that's definitely a huge plus. Its AoE isn't the best, it's good, it's there, but I think it could use some work with the fire explosion. Then finally, the last thing about PvE and kind of PvP is the range and the tracking that makes this really feel nice to use in both sectors of the game. Anyways, let me know if you have this weapon and what you think about it. The rest of the video will be the highlights of the 3 Crucible games I played, then also 3 strikes at the end, because there's not really too much more to say about this weapon than what I've already said. A lot of it is just through watching it in different scenarios in the game, so that's what I'm going to provide and leave you guys with. Anyways, thanks for watching, catch you guys next time.
Volunteered to handle the strike. Doors unlocked.
Not a trade I would have made. You're the one on the ground.
Come on. Bad for one little alarm beat.
Very bad.
I get regret.
Concentration of solar energy over there. Yeah. You were right. She grabbed it. It's not what anyone should have done.
I think they're trying to contain the Red Legion.